In 1968, Sjaak Rosenboom in the Dutch city of Bergen op Zoom starts his business wholesaling wood flooring. Thanks to Rosenboom's gift for entrepreneurship, this business flourishes and expands. In the 1980s, when Sjaak recognizes the potential of tropical woods from South America, he decides to set up the production of flooring right at the source in Paraguay. His son Paul travels to Paraguay to set up the first South American inpa factory. By 1995, inpa Parket, under the guidance of Paul, Sjaak's daughter Ella, and his son-in-law Arthur, comprises 4 different businesses in South America and the Netherlands. And with success. In 2007, inpa Parket wins the prestigious Latin America Trade Award.
I think our company is also unique because we do the whole thing from the forest to the floor. So the logging operations, making the inventory in the forest, the sawmill operations, kiln drying and making the final product out of it.
inpa Parket has a sawmill in Bolivia and a wood flooring factory in Paraguay. Aside from the sawmill in Concepcion in eastern Bolivia, inpa owns over 75,000 acres of FSC certified forest. inpa's philosophy for maintaining a certified forest is as follows. In this forest, inpa has created a microeconomy. That's how inpa supports sustainable forest management. inpa takes wood from the forest, but also gives back to the land and community. Balance is crucial to ensure sustainable forest management.
Here we see the whole map of the inpa forest. It's 30,000 hectares. It's about 80,000 acres. It's divided in 300 blocks of 1 square kilometer. We are doing here on selective harvesting. The whole forest and also the sawmill are FSC certified. So we are doing all the work here in a sustainable way. From the whole area, we need to keep a national reserve of about 10%. That are the green areas, what you see here. In these blocks, we are doing first. We are going to make the inventory. People are going into the forest to search for the trees. All the trees get their own number, and when this job is all done, all this information is going into the computer. And the forest management plan needs to be presented at the Ministry of Forestry. After that, we get permission to go harvesting, and we go into the forest to do the selective cutting and harvesting the trees.
All trees of each block are inventoried and selectively harvested. Once harvested, the trees are marked on the map to ensure compliance with the plan.
And this work we do in every parcel just once every 25 years. We harvest only 80% of the big trees, and 20% we need to leave in the forest as seed trees. They drop their seeds, and if the other 80% is harvested, then there are open spaces, so the other big trees, the other 20%, can drop their seeds, and the new generation has space to grow.
inpa applied for and received the FSC certificate because this organization meets the strict demands for selective harvesting and sustainable forest management. inpa also makes substantial contributions to the infrastructure of the region, such as laying and maintaining roads and bridges, and setting up a dedicated water and energy supply, not only for their business, but for the local community as well. inpa has also entered into partnerships dedicated to sustainable forest management with various native Indian communities, These native Indian communities who live in the neighboring villages own their own forest lands, but lack the financial means or material equipment for the effective management of their forest. INPA made long-term agreements with these native communities for selective harvesting and FSC certification of their forests. Furthermore, the income the Indian communities generate by selling wood is substantially higher than the national standard.
We are here in the local Indian community. Santa Monica is the name. These people have also big forest areas. We can do for them is starting this cooperation and buying their raw materials and helping them with sustainable forest management. So they get a good base of income and develop further their things in the village. INPA started cooperation with them on long term based on sustainable forest management. So INPA is going to harvest their trees, going to buy their trees, so that INPA has secured his raw materials for the future, and these people has also a good basic income for the future. Before they start harvesting, they make an inventory, so they are going to search for all the trees that are in the forest and that are harvestable in the next year. So we know in advance what we are going to harvest in species and in volume.
FSC certified wood means that a customer can always be certain that the product they buy is manufactured in a fair and sustainable way without exploiting the environment.
IBIF is the Bolivian Forest Research Institute, and the Forest Research Institute because Bolivia is a forest country. 50% of the country is occupied by forest. It has a large biodiversity, and we see how we can combine biodiversity conservation with sustainable timber production. We work in the INPA forest, and we work on how to increase the productivity of the forest. And you could do that, for example, by cutting the lianas. The trees in INPA, we have a very high liana load. These lianas compete with the trees for water and light. So if you cut them with a machete, then the competition is removed and the trees grow 50 to 60% faster. So that means a better timber production in the future.
That's huge.
It's tremendous. And at the same time, we're having experiments in which we are monitoring what the biodiversity is doing. So we're looking at very sensitive understory birds, amphibians and frogs. And we see that logging doesn't have a negative impact on the biodiversity of these species. So it means that logging can be sustainable, and at the same time, it maintains and conserves the biodiversity in the forest.
When the wood from the eastern Bolivian forests arrived, it's processed in INPA's state-of-the-art sawmill in Concepcion. This sawmill operates 4 processing lines and employs 100 workers.